Hello everybody, welcome back to the Traxion YouTube channel and welcome to week 3 of our Global Mazda MX-5 track guide series here on iRacing. Now week 3 brings us to Lime Rock Park. I think one of the first ever tracks to be scanned on iRacing, and it always offers really good racing in the MX-5s. So if you've followed my track guides before, you'll know that they are not a place for hot laps. It's a slow, methodical approach to learn the circuit where I talk about my braking markers, my reference points, and the little quirks that each circuit has. So as usual, I'll show you a flying lap in full, and then we'll jump in the car, do a couple of laps, and show you those braking markers and reference points in action. Then at the end, we'll talk about pit entry, pit exit, and where I think you can possibly get an overtake done here this week at Lime Rock Park. Enough talking, let's get on track. So here we are then on the main straight here at Lime Rock Park. So as usual, we've set the sim time to match the official series. So it's the 1st of April 2022 and the time in the sim is 1:50 p.m. We're also using the iRacing baseline setup, which is what is used in the official series. Track temperature right now is 40 degrees Celsius, exactly the same as it was in the flying lap that you've just seen. Now, Lime Rock Park's been around forever on iRacing. I think it was one of the first tracks ever to be scanned. But it's recently had an update, been rescanned, and it looks absolutely beautiful. It always offers really good racing in the Mazda MX-5. So turn number 1, you're going to be on the left-hand side of the circuit. You're going to be going up to 5th gear, around about the start-finish line there. So we're going to be in 5th gear. And my braking marker here is just after the 2. Now turns 1 and 2 are kind of combined. So you go around turn number 1, let it drift wide. And then we'll want to cut it back for turn number 2. So we're braking just after the 2. And I like to hit this apex nice and early. And then let the car drift out wide into the middle of the circuit. We're going all the way down into 2nd gear. And at this point here, we're kind of playing with the throttle. Just playing with the throttle, a little bit of acceleration. And in the Mazda, when you lift off the throttle, because the suspension is quite soft, all the weight is transferred forward. So if you can't get your car to turn, just lift off the gas and then it will rotate. So here we're going to cut it back. We're going to use this curb on the inside for a little bit of extra rotation. You'll find that quite a bit here at Lime Rock Park. The car will run all the way out wide. Now you can leave it in 2nd here or short shift to 3rd. It's entirely up to you. But we want the car for turn number 3. We want the car round about here. And you can see these tyre marks right on the road there. That's what we're going to use as our braking marker. Those tyre marks are there all the time. They never disappear. So you can use those as your braking mark. And just at the end of that longer wiggly one there that you can just see at the top of the instrument cluster, that's what we're going to use as our guide to go into turn number 3. And at the end of there, we're going to be braking down to 2nd gear if you've changed up to 3rd. And we're going to apex this one really late. We're playing with the accelerator because we want the car here to open up turn number 4. And if you get it right, you can take turn number 4 flat. It might need a tiny lift, but if you get it right, you can take it flat. And then obviously there's a long straight down to turn number 5. The whole 2nd gear all the way out wide, then up to 3rd. Move the car back over to the right. The run down to the tricky little chicane. Now this is in the Grand Prix layout, and you've got to be careful of the landmines, those little white, the red sausage curbs. They can damage your car, and if you hit them, you do lose a ton of speed. Now, turn number 5, what I like to do, there's a tyre mark there that you can see again on the road. That never changes. That's there all the time, going from left to right. I use the end of that as my braking marker. And we're only going to be braking to about 60-70% here because we want the car nice and controlled, and we're going to move across and put our left tyres all the way on this curb to open up this chicane. Because as we turn in, a little bit of trail brake here, it's important that we get on the accelerator before we get on the apex, because it's a bit of a run down to turn number 8, and we're going left and right up the hill. So the earlier we get on the gas, the more acceleration we've got, the faster we'll be by the time we approach turn number 8. So get on the accelerator, first gear, then shift to second. Here you can straight line it. Here, go over this curb on the left hand side. Then move the car over to the left hand side for turn number 8. Now, these next 2 turns, turn number 8, turn number 9, if you can take a little bit of curb on the inside, or especially with turn number 8, a lot of curb, it does help the car to rotate. It does bounce. It's not the tidiest, but it helps the car rotate, and it is quicker. I've done many, many laps here, and it is quicker to use the curb. So we're going to use these tyre marks again on the road. Here, there's nothing really to use as a braking marker, but we want to be on the left-hand side of these tyre marks that you can just see in the centre of the road. Then we're going to be lifting there. We're not going to be braking. We're going to be in 3rd gear. We're just going to be lifting and then letting the car coast in, and we're going to be hitting the inside curb round about here. The car will bounce. Get on the gas then as soon as you can, as well, just at the apex, and then the car will rotate. Now the run down to turn number 9, similar story here. However, this curb's a little bit trickier to hit because the start of the curb, if you hit the start of the curb, it does launch the car. It does work and it is quicker, but it is untidy, and it's that risk versus reward. You can unsettle the car, you may lose control. So if you can just kiss the curb or just touch the curb after the start of it, you're much better. So we're going to be going up to 4th gear. And as we go in the dip here, we're going to be lifting. Again, we're not going to be braking. We're just going to be lifting, getting the car to rotate. Again, try not to hit the start of the curb because, as you can see, there's a bit of a lip there. We want to be kind of approaching the curb and going on it here kind of gradually, and then getting back on the gas. Let the car run all the way out wide. You can use a little bit of grass on the exit, but just make sure that your steering is nice and straight. Otherwise, you'll be all over the place. Right, we'll try and pick up the pace. Hopefully, it'll make more sense as we go on. So we're braking here just after the 2. Here we would normally be in 5th gear. We're going down to 4th, down to 3rd, down to 2nd. Playing with the throttle. Let the car come all the way back. Use this curb on the inside just to give you a little bit of rotation. Move the car over to the right end of the tyre marks. We're going to be braking. Late apex of this one. Again, play with the throttle. And then here, if you got it right, you can hold this flat all the way around there. We wouldn't do that. Tyres aren't warm. You're looking for that tyre mark. There it is. And we're going to be braking just after the tyre mark. Down into 1st gear. And before the apex, we're going to be on the accelerator. Straight line this. Then move over to the left. Looking for those tyre marks. And here, we're not going to be braking. We're just going to be lifting. Let the car turn in, rotate. Then up to 4th gear. In the dip, we're going to be turning and lifting. The corner is cambered on the inside there, so you really need your right tyres as close to the curb as you can if you can't get your tyres on the curb. Right, we'll try and pick up the pace now. So after the 2, we're going to be braking. Car will be in the middle of the circuit. We're just going to wait, and then we're going to cut it back for this one. Use the curb for rotation. Up to 3rd. End of the tyre marks. Braking. Late apex. Just want the car right over to the left-hand side. We're almost flat there. Not quite, a tiny lift. The tyres aren't quite up to temperature. You're looking for the tyre mark. End of the tyre mark. Braking. Left tyres on the curb. Before the apex. On the gas. Power all the way up the hill. Straight line this curb. Move over to the left-hand 3rd gear. We're just going to be lifting here. Then accelerate. We didn't touch the curb there. That wasn't ideal. Again, down here, we're just going to lift in the dip. And there's the curb. Gives us a little bit of extra rotation. Much better. We'll do one more lap. Up to 5th gear. What was that? 1015. So just after the 2, braking. Out to 2nd gear. Just playing with the throttle. Then lift and the car will turn. When you lift, all the weight is transferred forwards. So again here, again off the throttle. All the weight on the front of the car. Can we take this flat now? Yes. Again, look for that tyre mark in the centre of the circuit. Braking. Out of 1st gear. Accelerator before the apex. Again here, we'll try and hit this curb this time on the right hand side. So tyre marks, just as we get to those, we're going to be lifting on that curb. Just helps the car rotate. Up to 4th, same here. Lift and turn. Again, just helps the car rotate. Just hitting that curb, just makes it slide, just gets it round a little bit quicker. That should be a little bit quicker that lap. 101.25. So yeah, that's probably where you're going to be this week. Remember to use those curbs just for that extra rotation. If you hit them hard, it doesn't matter. The suspension on the Mazda is quite soft. It's not too bad. But that's key to get a decent lap, is get really nice and tight on the final turn, turn number 9. If you don't, the car will just run wide. Up against the curb, the track is cambered, and it will help you get round. So just bear that in mind. Right. So, we're going to look at pit entry, pit exit, and then we'll talk about overtaking. It's really difficult round here. So, pit entry here at Lime Rock Park, it's not too bad, but the main thing that you need to consider, you're going to have to go in the pits, is to make sure that your intentions are known to everybody else, because as you exit turn number 9, you need your car over to the right hand side. If somebody's pushing you behind, their natural line is to go up the inside as you run wide out of turn number 9, and then you can't get back over to the right hand side. So you may have to compromise this final turn just to make sure that you're on the right hand side as you exit turn number 9, because that's the start of pit lane here. So you don't want to be on the left hand side, then have to try and get over, because it's just going to cause absolute chaos. As soon as you enter the pit lane, you want to be hard on the brakes. Pit limiter on, down into 1st gear, because there is the yellow cone. Quite a difficult little pit entry there, so you can't rush it, because if you do, you're going to end up into the tyre barriers. Now we'll talk about pit exit whilst we're here. Put the pit limiter on. So the green cone's there. It's not too bad, dead simple, until you get to the blue cone, which is the case on many, many circuits. So release the pit limiter at the green cone. And there's the blue cone. We can then move over, but we're at the turning point. Bang on the turning point for turn number 1. So again, keep an eye on your relative. Make sure that if you're going to get lapped, you just back off, let those guys go, because you don't want to be coming out in the middle of the top 3 and end up causing all kinds of chaos, or getting yourself punted off track because they're racing really hard. Right, overtaking now, Lime Rock, where we're going to get it done this week. So, overtaking at Lime Rock Park in the Mazda, it's actually quite difficult, and you've got to really put people under pressure and make them go offline and make them make a mistake, because there's not that many places where you can get an overtake done safely. There's the obvious move down into turn number 1 if somebody doesn't defend. If somebody's got this line, then you can take the inside line and get up the inside turn number 2. But what I have done many times is put people under pressure, stick right behind them, make them go defensive, and then at the last moment we're going to change our line to the normal line. Because they've gone defensive, they will probably brake and end up all the way over here because they're defending so hard. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to cut back and go up the inside into turn number 2. Now, I've done that many, many times. If you can't, you can try and hold the outside round turn number 1 and turn number 2. And if you get the move done round turn number 2 and you're alongside them going into turn number 3, then there's a good chance that you'll make the move stick into turn number 3 round here, because there's not really any chance they're going to hold the outside line around there. And especially if you're on the outside here, you're going to carry a lot more corner speed than what they would. Down here, yes, there's potential for overtaking into the chicane at the bottom of the hill, but it's quite easy for somebody to defend there. Again, you want to be making them think that you want to go up the inside, changing your line at the last moment and thinking about the exit up the hill. If they're on the inside here, their exit speed out of the chicane is going to be super slow compared to your normal lines. That's what you want to be doing, trying to take your normal line through here. And again, they're going to defend going into turn number 8, but you can hold the outside going around turn number 8. It's a bit more difficult because there's not as much rubber, but you can hold an outside line around turn number 8. And if you do that, there's a good chance that you get the move done around the final turn. Again, there's not as much grip, so you need to be careful. But it's really difficult here at Lime Rock Park. So on the inside up to turn number 1, if you can't get that done, try and make them defend really hard into turn number 1 and switch it back, get the move done into turn number 2. Alternatively, on the outside around turn 1, 2, and pass them on the inside of 3. Then try and get a good exit out of the chicane, turn number 5 and 6, and go around the outside, turns number 8 and 9. But it's really not easy. It's all about putting the guy under pressure, making them go offline and make a mistake. So there we go. That's week 3 done here at Lime Rock Park. Please let us know down below in the comments how you get on. What were your times before the guide and what were your times after? Did I help? Did I cover everything that you wanted to be covered in a track guide? Next week for week 4, we go to Summit Point Raceway, another track that I believe has been on iRacing since the very beginning, and it's absolutely perfect for the MX-5s. So as usual, thank you very much for watching. Good luck this week. Keep it pinned.